Hey everyone, welcome to another real-time career pivot show. I know the logo, the thumbnail still says me and Nathan Jefferson. Nathan's taking a hiatus. I may change the thumbnail, I may not. But anyway, wanted to take some time today. We're coming up on Thanksgiving here in the U.S. We have a 3-day work week, which means, excuse me, it's 8 o'clock on a Monday. My voice isn't warmed up yet. It means we have a short week, which means we have a lot of meetings jammed in. So if you're watching this, I really appreciate it. If not, hopefully you can catch the recording. But what's interesting is every year around this time, companies panic, decide they want to end the year on a good note for them. So they decide to lay off people, cut costs, make their financials look better to their investors, which means customer service will suffer, morale will go down, which means customer experience will suffer. And in the long run, it will probably hurt the company more than it helps it. Investors will get mad. They'll lay more people off. It's disappointing that companies, especially large companies with lots of cash, lots of resources, think in such short-term knee-jerk ways. Instead of weathering the storm, maintaining high morale, maintaining a great customer experience through high morale, happy employees equal happy customers. But somehow that's been lost in the fray. Used to work for Southwest until they had leadership changes, and now I'm not sure who does that very well. But anyway, enough about that in my soapbox. If you happen to find yourself on the wrong end of pleasing investors this holiday season, there's some things that you can do. One is don't panic. I know that your mind is going to go straight to the worst possible things that could happen. You're going to end up in a cardboard box in the street. You're going to lose your house. You're not going to be able to pay your rent. Your kids won't be able to go to that school you wanted them to go to 20 years from now. Don't panic. Panic causes anxiety. Anxiety causes stress, and stress causes bad decisions to happen. Sit down and think about the decisions. Doing nothing is also a decision. Some people may have the luxury of being able to do nothing through the holidays, relax, enjoy it. But most of us do not have that luxury. And so I would say, first of all, sit down, think about what your options are. What would you want to do? It's kind of a clean slate. What would you want to do now if you could? Would that require taking a step back in terms of salary pay? Because now's the time to do that, because you're on unemployment, hopefully, and taking a step back. So you should, over the next month or so, be able to whittle expenses down, figure out a way to cut costs and live on less, which means now's that opportunity to make that pivot. One way you can do that is while you're looking for another role, while you're tapping into your network, continuing to build your network, build relationships, which should never end, by the way, even if you do find a role. Reach out to some nonprofits that you admire. Ask if they would let you help pro bono for free. Do some of these things that you want to gain more experience in, or really just kind of level up your experience. And most of the time they'll say yes. I've been working with a nonprofit now for, since like 2014, 2015. So a long time. Most of that has been pro bono. And I just really enjoy helping them. I've been able to do some things that has given me experience that I might not have gotten other places. I'm gaining experience in how nonprofits work because I may want to start one, probably sooner rather than later after my recent political campaign. But that's a great way to stay busy, to again, build your network, make relationships, and get some needed experience. The next thing you can do is just look up old managers and colleagues, people you've enjoyed working for or working with in the past. Look them up, reach out to them, let them know your situation, see if they have any roles at their company they can refer you to, or if they know about anybody else hiring that they could refer you to. Always a good place to start. Um, Another thing you can do is um, tap a friend that you have on LinkedIn that might be a little bit more influential than others, has a good engaged following, and ask them if they would post on your behalf, to kind of get it out to their network. Um, that can do a lot. It'll probably drive more followers, more connection requests for you, because people trust that person. Um, and if they're trying to help you out, then you must be a good person, and they want to connect with good people most of the time. Um, it will also get a lot of DMs of people who want to help, people who can offer advice. I recently did this for my wife, who has been unemployed since February. She got laid off by Randstad, a staffing firm here in the U.S. that also is a global company. She was laid off the day she came back from maternity leave. It was bullshit and a shitty situation, uh, especially given the job market this year, how bad it's been, for a lot of people. And she's still looking. Unemployment ran out. She's still looking. So I posted something. I have almost 12,000 followers. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and so I shared it with my network, to see if they could help. Because I feel like I willingly do a lot for people. I don't expect anything in return. And so every once in a while, I'll ask for a favor. I don't do it often, um, but when I did, the results were amazing. She was able to schedule several calls with people that I know. Her network grew, and she was able to get a bunch of conversations going, that helped her reframe what she could do. She's making a career pivot. She was a social worker in the state of Washington. She's um, uh, been doing more kind of staffing related stuff over the past several years. As we have young children, she wanted things that were more flexible, to be able to work remotely, and that's where a lot of my contacts are. So I made some introductions, um, and so she's been able to do that. But she wants to pivot into change management, something that can leverage her skills that she got as a social worker. I mean, she laughs when she's in interviews and people ask about high pressure situations and can you handle this or that. And we're talking like companies, B2B companies. And she laughs because the high pressure situations she had to deal with in CPS actually were life and death. She had to walk into homes of gang members. She had to have police escorts sometimes in some of the worst parts of Seattle. So dealing with high pressure situations is in a business environment pretty easy for her. So those are the kinds of things that you can think about if you are wanting to make a pivot. How do the skills, and especially the soft skills that you've acquired doing what you've been doing, apply to something else? Because hard skills can be taught. Um, they can always be taught. If you're eager to learn, that's something that you can learn pretty easily. That's not what's going to set people apart. It's going to be your desire to continue to learn, B, those intangible soft skills, real skills, as Seth Godin refers to them as, that are going to help you navigate the politics, navigate situations, problems that come up, solve problems, um, deal with things under pressure. And if you're dealing with life and death situations and you get into a business environment, there's really nothing that's going to shake you. Um, but um, but I think that's key, is find someone who you know pretty well, who has a large following, is engaged, is active on LinkedIn, and ask if they will post something on your behalf. And I think you'd be amazed at least at the momentum that it starts to build for you, because momentum is key. And I think that leads me to another point, that if you haven't been engaging in places like LinkedIn or communities. Find communities that are targeted around, that are focused on your career and kind of what you do and or where you want to be and what you want to do. And be engaged, show up, be visible, so that when people see your name, they know, oh, I know them. I've seen them. They're smart. They have, intelligent things to say. They're very helpful, very generous, and that goes a long way. But it takes time to really get that flywheel spinning, and you need to keep it going. Even when you have a job, keep it going, because now if you haven't done that, you're going to find that going to your network when you need it is not going to be very fast or helpful, because people don't want to just give all the time. It's reciprocal. Even if, like me, I don't want to take, but there are times where I might need to lean on my network, like I have recently. Um, and that's fine. But you really need to be out there, being thoughtful. I mean, one way to really approach being in the comments, I think, let me back up that every day set aside time to network. I hate that term, but to just engage with people, to show up. Okay. That can be crafting a short post on LinkedIn. Don't do it for reassurance. Don't do it for likes. Just do it to make a habit out of getting your thoughts out there, on different topics related to your career or a pivot you want to make. Just get it out there. Who cares if people like it? Who cares if people see it? Just practice the habit of taking what's in your head, getting it out somewhere, making it public, because you never know who might find insight in what you think isn't very valuable, can be valuable to some people, because there's always people who know less than you. There's always people that know more than you. So don't worry about it. Just write and post. Second, block time every day. If you post 3 times a week, that's fine. But I would say no less than 3 times a week. But every day, make time to connect with people. I would max out your weekly amount of connection requests that you have. I don't know how many it is. It varies. Sometimes I'll send out 200 before it says, sorry, you're out. Sometimes 130. But just do searches. Find people who are interesting. Don't just connect for the heck of it, but be very specific and targeted in connecting with people who do what you do, who are in leadership roles and what you in the career path you want to take, and just connect with those people. And then go back and engage with them and make time every day to connect with people until you run out of connection requests, and engage with people. And one way to think about engaging with people is really thinking like a coach. And what that means is helping people who post something on LinkedIn go a little deeper, push them to elaborate on things, think a little bit more about what they just said, not in a negative way. There's too much negative out there right now. Be helpful and do it in a coaching way. And what that means is ask questions, open-end questions. What about this? And a great book, if you want to find kind of a framework for being able to ask great open-ended questions, is called The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay Stanier. And one of the best books I've read. It really is great about just helping you build out different kinds of questions to engage people, to help them go deeper. If you do it too much in the same thread, it's going to get annoying. But see if you can take them one level deeper in the topic they are talking about. Maybe ask them to think of a different angle that maybe from your experience you've experienced or seen. And don't tell them what you know. Ask them a question to help them get to where you are and what you know, or just be curious because you don't know, and ask to go a little bit deeper, add a little bit more depth to what they're talking about. They'll appreciate it, and I think others in the conversation will appreciate it. And again, keep doing that every day, and especially when you do find a role, keep doing it, because that momentum is going to be invaluable to you. Also, use the open to work banner on LinkedIn. Good recruiters and hiring managers get it. Realize that companies lay off people, that it's just a weird time right now. Being laid off doesn't mean that you're bad at what you do. It's just companies had to cut. They're worried more about investors than they are employees, employees' families, and really customers in the long run. So don't worry about people thinking you're desperate. Use it because it will make people more willing to reach out to you, knowing that they'll get a response. Recruiters reach out to tons of people all day long and maybe get 10 responses for every 100 in-mails or outreach that they do. And so if they see an open to work banner, they know, hey, I'll probably hear back from this person, and that they like that, because it gets hard to just work and work and work and hear crickets back. So put that up. Inexperienced or old school recruiters and hiring managers won't get it, and that's fine. You really want to work for them anyway. So put it up. Don't listen to the recruiters who want to just talk to hear themselves talk about that kind of thing. Also, another thing to think about is companies you've worked for in the past. Are there companies you've worked for that you would want to go back to? You left on good terms. You were just looking for something new, change of pace. Maybe a manager left that you really admired. Think about companies you've worked for in the past, and if you would be willing to go back, because a lot of times companies will take you back if you left on good terms, and that's just less onboarding. It's cheaper for them to hire you back than to hire someone new and teach them in 6 months to really a year before that person really gets things moving. And then with the way people move around, they might have 6 months after they finally get in a groove to actually maximize that person's value. Maybe another year and a half max if people tend to stick around 3 years. But they don't have much time to realize the value of the investment they make on onboarding, training, getting that knowledge of the space they're in. It takes time. And so a lot of times they'll be willing to hire you back. And in fact, I just read over the weekend that companies like Facebook are actually listing preferred past Facebook experience on their job ads. So they want to hire people. Some companies are starting to realize, hey, it's much cheaper to hire someone who worked here before, given that, if they accept the fact that people move every 3 years, you want to maximize that time you have with that person and what you're paying them. So think about that. So if you have been laid off, I feel for you. It's horrible. I think companies that lay off before the holidays I don't think highly of them. Let's put it that way. It's just a bad move to do to somebody, especially people with families, before the holidays. So that's my take. Appreciate anybody that's been here, especially knowing that here in the US, we've got a 3-day week, lots of meetings. I know I've got lots of meetings. I'm going to hop off of here and just kind of prepare for a day of meetings today and tomorrow and Wednesday. So thanks again for joining. If you're watching the recording, thanks for making the time to carve out to watch this. Hopefully this has helped. If you find yourself in the unfortunate position of being laid off now or in the next couple of weeks before the other set of holidays kick in, feel free to reach out to me. I won't have a lot of time over the next couple of months. Things with my business are ramping up, and with the holidays, sorry. But happy to do some things asynchronously. If you'd like to bounce some questions off of me, ask me for advice. I use Voxer a lot, which is a voice messaging platform, and happy to do some asynchronous stuff over the coming weeks if you'd like some help. So shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, travis@travislscott.com, and happy to help. But until next time, have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you in the US, and I'll see you next Monday.